Results from our cohort study of long-term cigarette smokers, where we compared the health outcomes in participants who shifted to heated tobacco products and those who maintained their cigarette smoking habit. The presentation is titled "The Effect of Shifting to Heated Tobacco Products on Metabolic Syndrome in Long-Term Cigarette Smokers. Preliminary results of a 3-year follow-up." The Academy of Preventive Medicine performed the study. A grant from Philip Morris International partially funds this study project, but neither the Academy nor any authors of this abstract are affiliated with Philip Morris International. Philip Morris had no involvement in the study conduct, data analysis, and writing of this abstract. As you all know, metabolic syndrome is a common condition in the developed world, characterized by a constellation of components such as central obesity, high blood pressure, and irregularities in blood biochemistry. It is a well-established risk factor for many chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, etc. The serious condition affects up to a quarter of Kazakhstani population. Lifestyle factors such as sedentary lifestyle and unhealthy diet play a significant role in developing metabolic syndrome. Cigarette smoking was also associated with a risk factor for developing metabolic syndrome. While we advise complete cessation of smoking, some long-term smokers find it impossible, and some move to heated tobacco products, which some studies suggest to be less deleterious for health. However, the literature on how shifting to heated tobacco products affects components of metabolic syndrome in long-term smokers. This study is aimed to analyze the long-term effects of shifting to heated tobacco products use in the prevalence of metabolic syndrome compared to continued combustible cigarette use in long smokers. For the study, a cohort of 1,200 participants, and which consists of 800 cigarette smokers and 400 participants who recently shifted to HTP use, aged 40-59 years, with a minimum of 10 years per year smoking history, were recruited and followed up for 36 months. Data on demographic history, smoking habits, blood biochemistry was collected at baseline. Follow-up visits included a collection of blood biochemistry, lung function, and other relevant clinical characteristics. As you can see from this table, we used IDF metabolic syndrome definition. Chi-square tests were used to compare the frequency of metabolic syndrome between visits at baseline, 12, 24, and 36 months. Let's move to the results. Here you can see how the prevalence of metabolic syndrome changed over 36 months of follow-up. The prevalence of metabolic syndrome significantly decreased for HTP users from 35 to 28% with a p-value 0.03 compared to decrease from 35% to 30% with a p-value of 0.32 in combustible cigarette users. Next, the prevalence of central obesity significantly decreased for heated tobacco product users from 79 to 70%, p is less 0.01 compared to 80% to 78%, p-value 0.09 decrease in combustible cigarette users. The prevalence of rice triglycerides decreased for both HTP and CC users, but the change was not significant. As you can see from this graph, the prevalence of reduced HDL-C significantly decreased for both HTP and conventional cigarettes. The prevalence of raised blood pressure significantly decreased for heated tobacco product users from 17 to 11% compared to 17% to 13% decrease in combustible cigarettes. The prevalence of fasting plasma glucose significantly decreased for both HTP users. The study is one of the most extensive cohort studies looking into long-term cigarette and heated tobacco product use. We have demonstrated that while both conventional cigarettes and HTP users experience a decrease in the prevalence of metabolic syndrome components, heated tobacco product users experience decrease in more significant number of metabolic syndrome components. The results of the study suggest that HTP might be a less deleterious alternative compared to conventional cigarettes in people with a long history of cigarette use and who cannot quit smoking. The analysis are preliminary and further investigation are needed to identify the effects of shifting to HCP on metabolic syndrome, so caution is required when interpreting this. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please contact me on my email. Thank you.